Carter, who was coming up. Oh, they were treating me really strange. It was a strange day.
Jim,
okay.
Only 2 shot, right?
Yeah, all 2s on that one, all singles on Richard, yeah.
You got it. We ready, Rich?
Okay.
Speed. All right, Mr. President.
All right.
3, 2, 1, rolling.
We're just trying to figure out if Gene Siskel liked the movie or not. I just spoke to him and we can't figure out. What do you think?
All right, well, let me tell you about this movie. We'll talk about that, because people always ask what to think about the movie when it's over with.
Yeah.
I do like it, but it's a very unusual film. Number one, it's hard for me and you to talk about it, because I think if you tell me the story, it'll give it away. And I think even the press kit is awkwardly written, because it doesn't want to spoil the story. So
I just want you to know, I did not write the press kit. I just want that known now.
Okay.
Who did write it? Did you write it? The person who wrote it is here in the room and will defend it.
She will defend it. But
Yes.
I mean, what are you telling people what kind of movie you were in? So if you just tell your friends and stuff, what'd you tell them you were doing?
I talk about like the Civil War movie with Jodie Foster and this guy who comes back who's been in a prison camp for 4 or 5 years and unexpectedly shows up.
It's a love story. That's pretty easy to talk about.
Yeah,
it's a good relationship story.
It's deeply romantic, not in the sense of boy-girl, but in the sense of yearning and need, yearning for a sense of home and place, identity, which I think is why it works so well. This story, this mythic story, works so well at that time in Tennessee, Reconstruction, when everything was in chaos. Sense of self, sense of place.
You obviously liked the movie more than just wanting to be an actor in it. I mean, you're one of the producers. What is it when you read it that just said, wow, I want to do this?
Because even the way it was written was quite beautiful. It was very poetically written. The first line of it was written not like a letter, but it was almost poetically written here. It said, a man's hand. And then another image, and the poetry of that to me was very appealing. The mythic kind of balladesque nature of the story I found deeply moving, and the challenge and daring of the ending I thought was wonderful.
I was going through the list of the Richard Gere films over the years. 15 years you've been doing this, plying your trade.
That long?
That long. It doesn't show.
How many films?
I quit counting after a while.
Really?
I don't put everything on your resume, I don't think, because they always leave off a few. But it's a real eclectic kind of group, and I guess that's most actors who are successful seem to, as soon as they go one way far enough, they jerk and go the other way a little bit, so you can keep doing different stuff. Have you found consciously that you've done that?
I don't do it consciously. I follow what my own interests are and what's out there. I like to work. I tend to work in spurts now. That I might go away for a couple of years and do something else altogether, and then do 3 movies very quickly. I find that when I set out looking for something, if I say, look, I want to do a music movie, I want to do a movie where I'm playing the guitar, a 50s blues movie in Chicago. I can't find it. I can't get it written. It's not there. But then another movie like Internal Affairs will just drop out of nowhere, and I will find the interest in that character and that story and wrap myself around that. So I can't, the times that I have even tried to make conscious decisions have failed miserably.
I mean, do people who work with you on your career, publicists and agents and that kind of thing, say, okay, Richard, we can't let you be a good guy all the time in a romantic lead. We got to get a little dirt on you.
I don't think it works that way. I don't know anyone who has handlers on them. Certainly at this level of work, people don't have handlers.
Well, I mean, they give advisors like you're doing too much of one thing. You're becoming too much one-dimensional. You don't think that ever comes up?
Not in my experience.
Really?
No, you follow your own interests and what's out there.
Do you get upset if something, I mean, you've had great
this
success.
was something that was actually inactive. This script was a found script. And it was in a pile of scripts that I was working through that was at TriStar at the time, inactive scripts. And I just started a deal, my own production deal at TriStar. And it was among, I think out of that pile, I made 2 movies. One was Mr. Jones, which is the next movie that'll come out, and Summersby, which we ended up making in a different studio. But I wasn't looking for Summersby. It was just such a beautiful piece, an intriguing piece, complex, deep, emotional piece. And the way it came out, I'm deeply deeply proud of it. I really love the movie.
Were you surprised at the wake that the movie Pretty Woman gave off? What a phenomenon, wild, crazy success that was, insane success?
Yeah, I mean, I really had no interest in making the movie whatsoever. I mean, the biggest movies I've made, I've had no interest in. Like
what does that say about Richard? What does that
that's
say?
what I mean. I have no instinct for these things at all. Like Officer and a Gentleman, I had no interest in doing. You know, it was like the truth is that I needed the money at that time, and Pretty Woman, I had no interest in doing. And I had a friend of mine at Disney kept bringing it to me. And I said, no, no, and finally it was yes, but it wasn't. You know, it was not a passion. In the end, I love those movies. I'm very, very happy with them, but I don't know what's commercial or what isn't. I don't even know what movies I'm going to end up liking doing.
Can you go back and watch some of these other movies? I mean, some people can't, some people can.
Can I? Yeah, I guess I can. Do I search them out? No, I don't really.
But if it was on the television set, you might watch it for a minute.
For a minute. For a minute, like seeing an old photograph, you know, in an album. I don't especially like looking at old movies of mine. Although I do remember once, I was very jet-lagged in London, and so I was up at 4 in the morning, and I turned on the tube, and one of the in-house channels there had Officer and a Gentleman, and I hadn't seen it in maybe 8 years or 10 years, whatever. And I said, this is really good. So this movie is good. We did a good job with this one.
Yeah, it does hold up real well. David Keith is good.
Yeah, Dave's wonderful. Everyone's wonderful.
Nice talking to you finally. I can't believe after 10 years of doing this, I've never run into you.
Well, there you go, man. It's done now. We don't have to do it again.
That's right. That's it. All right, we're going. You know, I haven't done this.